This morning, we got a 47 ABC update on the way. In the 7 o'clock hour, at 7:10, we're going to do a phone check with Clarissa Jenkins. 7:20, we have Brandon Zeitler joining the show from Irreverent Warriors.
Nice.
He comes in from time to time.
Yes, he does.
Yes, the Irreverent Warriors Delaware chapter to talk about what they got coming up. They help out a ton of veterans. He's a veteran himself.
Yep.
So, again, looking forward to talking to him. We got to get into Diddy. That's the big story of the day. Normally about this time, we do trending stories, and we have trending stories ready to go, but I think this is the biggest.
It's trending,
This
right?
is going to kind of be like a two-parter.
Okay.
All right, we'll start now, and then as we get into Celebrity Buzz, we'll do part two on the update. But first off, want to play some of the press conference from yesterday. All right, so here we go again. Sean Diddy Combs indicted on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Here goes the news conference from yesterday.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today, I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines.
Picture this.
Wow, this is just unbelievable.
Gosh.
Any first reaction, Jess?
I mean, I knew that he was, in New York. I knew that we talked about it a little bit yesterday. He was arrested, but now it sounds like he's being held without bond, and this is...
Yeah, we're going to get an update on everything,
Yeah.
What's going on now. But, again...
This is serious.
Just wanted to go over some of the, indictments and everything that he was charged with from the press conference yesterday.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs. And he
Freak-offs.
often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
All right, so everything that we had heard and that was like rumors, I mean, obviously we believed, Cassie and, with the whole situation, we saw the video, which was horrifying, but we started hearing all the talks about the freak-offs, the drugs, the trafficking, and all this. It was still like some of it might be embellished a little bit. We weren't really sure, whatever. Well, now this. And we didn't know what would happen. Like, why hasn't anything happened with Diddy? What's going on? And now this is like becoming a thing. And he's getting charged with this.
And that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair.
Not just Cassie, at victims.
On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. he used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance.
That's just so crazy. Like he had that over them.
All
like
of
he
this
was
is
paying for
crazy.
their, their living and, supporting them. And then he would use that over their heads if you
Yeah.
say anything or if you try to run or whatever, So, and he said that he used the video that he filmed during the freak offs and things
Yep.
that would be humiliating to them
So that would be like blackmail.
as blackmail.
Yep.
Well, guess what? Guess what video we got you on? The surveillance at the hotel. How about that? And this is how I think this opened up. Cassie opened up,
Yeah. I know.
this, which bravo to her, finally.
How brave, right?
Yeah. So I saw another story out there. People were praising Aubrey O'Day.
Oh, remember that back in the day, years ago?
for getting out and all this. Remember, she was given a hard
I
time
know.
for,
And people didn't believe her.
Nope.
And
Nope.
Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse.
This is like an R. Kelly. This is exactly, well, maybe not exactly, but this is almost
similar, yeah.
similar to like an R. Kelly situation.
The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson.
Arson.
The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way.
Now, you know what's crazy?
To get his way.
RICO conspiracy. That reminds me of the Young Thug case that's going on right now because they call it the RICO case.
With the
Where they're saying that he's part of a gang and all
Yes.
this. And, I don't know if
the wording and the initials.
but
of,
the wording in the initial, yes.
yes.
So,
That it
you
stands
learn.
for something else.
Those individuals
He said it's a record label and all that. Again, I'm not getting into that right now, but that is, kind of like reminds me of that.
allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies,
Because he's paying them.
including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to continue on the way. We're going to do part 2 of Sean Diddy Combs indicted on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. I know, Jess, you have an update
I do.
coming up. It's just wild. Initial thoughts and comments. Big story yesterday about Diddy. 302-858-5117. It's a Bill and Jessica show, and we got a 47 ABC.